Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special Talking Insomnia episode where Benjamin is here. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Super nice to have you here. And I know you a little bit, but not I not don't know you super well, Ben. But I remember you from comments, and there was a comment the other day on YouTube channel where I invited you as a
hmm
guest. But really, just let's just jump into it and tell us a little bit about your story and how it started with trouble sleeping.
Yeah, this all started probably back in, it was in January of 2021. Prior to that, I had had basically zero trouble sleeping my entire life. My little brother sometimes had trouble sleeping, and my parents, but I mean, everybody has those issues, right? But basically, I was working a part-time job as a line cook while I was in school for college, and that was the last semester of college for me, and I had a particularly stressful night at work because as a line cook I worked on the weekends because that's usually when it's the busiest, and um, I just remember I worked a long shift on Friday night, and then when I got back I felt kind of panicky, kind of anxious, like I usually do after those long shifts, because my mind is still in the go 1,000 miles per hour mode. Got to make food, got to do the orders, everything. Um, so I went to bed like I usually do and thought, oh, this feeling will pass. But um, an hour later, I woke up and my heart was beating 1,000,000 miles per hour, and I was like starving. And I'm like, geez, I usually don't eat enough. Um, you know, During those long days, when I work part time, because I just don't have time because we're just so busy. So, and I had had a few times earlier in my life when I had woken up and I had I think like low blood sugar or something, or like my heart's kind of beating fast, feel kind of just kind of um, lightheaded, I guess, when you haven't eaten in a while. Anyway, so yeah, I ate something, but that didn't fix it, and I didn't sleep the rest of the night, and it scared me so bad, um, because I had never experienced that before in my life. I was like, you know, I go to bed and I sleep 7 or 8 hours. Why can't I sleep? And so the next night, well, the next day I had to go to work on barely any sleep, and I did fine. I mean, I was a little tired, but um, yeah. To make a long story short, I didn't sleep for like 3 or 4 days in that initial stretch. Go ahead.
So after this first sleepless night, you go back to the same job, I presume,
Right.
and then it just the whole thing sort of just repeats for 3 nights.
Yeah. I guess it was my anxiety, because I've had previous health scares in the past with myself. I had cancer in high school, and that was kind of a little bit traumatizing, because ever since then, I've had like some health anxiety. Like every little thing that I think is wrong with me, I think, oh, it could be something, because I guess just for a little bit of background, like I had cancer in high school, like stage one, but it blindsided me, and nobody could tell me why I got it. And so I thought this time around, I was like, oh geez, there might be something, even though it's highly illogical when you remove the emotion from it. Like, you probably don't have anything. It's probably just anxiety, whatever. But it just, in my mind, I was just like, this makes no sense. What's wrong with me? Um, Probably, I thought it was like, could be some anxiety or some depression from school. But anyway, after about 3 or 4 days, I finally just settled down, and I finally was so tired, I just crashed and I slept like normal for like a week, and then I thought it was over, and I thought, oh, just, probably was just a rough stretch. But then I started waking up early in the night at around 3 or 4, um, and then that's when I um, started to think about it. Sorry, the intercom's on. Um, so that was just basically the start of it. Um, This went on for about 3 or 4 months. Probably at my lowest point, I would sleep probably an hour or two every night. The most I would get is like 3 or 4. Um, I just, when I think about it now, looking back, I think I was just in, I guess, survival mode or something. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of other people on this channel have kind of said that before. So go ahead. Yeah.
No, I think, I believe that 100%. And I just want to take it like a second to sort of contextualize and then ask, and then, we'll continue with the story, of course. But, you know, it makes so much sense in a way. Yeah, like you made this great point about how already in high school you'd had that health scare, which naturally makes you a little bit more, you know, uh, observant, apprehensive when it comes to anything around your health, right? And then in hindsight, it's easy to see how that first night you were just stressed from work and then you didn't sleep much, but with sort of a mind that's looking for potential problems, it goes like, wait a minute, I didn't sleep at all. This could be something bad. You don't sleep for 3 nights, and then finally you're just like, your sleep drive is so strong that it kind of overpowers that anxiety. And then that scare is a little bit off the radar, but not completely off the radar. It's sort of drifted away a little bit. You sleep well for a night, but it's still on the radar. And then for some reason it kind of kicks in again. And just before I ask the next question, like, did that sound like it made sense?
Yeah, it completely made sense. Yeah, I guess you kind of brought up something that I was going to share. I feel like my anxiety surrounding sleep kind of morphed, if that makes sense. It kind of morphed from, is there something wrong with me, to there's maybe not something wrong with me, but then I started worrying about sleep. I started prioritizing sleep when I haven't before. And the fact that I was graduating college and I was trying to get the best grades, trying to finish strong, trying to, work hard and get the job that I've always wanted, that just added stress. I had this part-time job that I was working, and um, you know, I started going on Google, and I wish I would have never done that, because it led me down a rabbit hole of just endless things about insomnia. Um, and then, because if you go on the internet and you type in insomnia, or you type in um, just insomnia health effects or whatever, it completely scares you, because every website will tell you, insomnia can cause I don't know, weight gain, it can cause fatigue, it can, and then your anxiety starts compounding, like, oh, since insomnia causes um, these health issues, and then my life is just going to keep getting worse. And and now that I realize how important sleep is, I just need to start prioritizing it. I need to start doing these things. And you see where I'm going? It kept building. The importance of it kept building, and the more importance I placed on it, the harder it was for me to sleep.
Yeah, it's
So
so clear to see how, like, there was pressure from, I have to sleep more for health reasons, and I have to sleep more so I can get the grades I want. I even have to sleep more to get the job I want, the life I want. All that pressure, I mean, so naturally leads to trouble sleeping.
yeah, so in a nutshell, I basically, it worrying about sleep became this basically the focal point of my anxiety. And I even started talking to a counselor, because we get free counseling services through my community college that I was at. He helped me out a little bit, but you know I started taking like some herbal medicines. I started taking some melatonin, valerian root, things of that nature. Nothing would help. I even took some prescribed medicine, because I went to the doctor, my primary care doctor. I haven't seen her in a long time, and she was like, then why are you showing up? Like, I thought you were healthy. And I said I can't sleep, like, and I'm worried that my world's going to be falling apart, because because I feel tired and nervous, and I just insomnia is really getting to me, and I've just never felt like this in my life. Like I feel horrible, but um, she basically just prescribed me some. I think it's called trazodone. Didn't help at all. And they supposedly give that to people who have trouble sleeping. It didn't help me at all. And I think I watched a video one time where you explained that the more effort you put into sleeping, the worse it gets. And yeah, it just I remember stumbling. Sorry if I'm kind of all over the place. I'm just trying to kind of gather my thoughts, but um, I want to say that I came across your channel like 2 months into my insomnia journey, and to be honest, I kind of just discounted everything that you were talking about. I'm like, how can it be this easy? You know, it can't just be me. There has to be something else here, and sleeping has to be important. Otherwise, doctors wouldn't say, "Oh, get your sleep." You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. No, and I've heard that reaction from several other guests before, and I think you painted a very clear picture, and so I think after this, when sort of the insomnia came back, that's when you started like Googling and you tried supplements and went to the doctor. And were there other things you tried as well? I don't know, sleep hygiene or things of that nature?
yeah, um, yeah. I tried sleep hygiene. I tried setting like a sleep window. Um, that didn't help. I tried meditating a little bit. Um, I guess that kind of helped initially when I went to sleep, kind of helped quiet my mind, but the tension was still there. So it didn't help
Absolutely.
that much. I tried exercising a little bit more, um, and I realize now, um, it's so clear to me because when I go to sleep at night, it's like, oh, I this thing is going to be working, and I can't wait for this to work. And I'm laying there in bed, like, oh, it's going to kick in. Like all the effort that I put into trying to get some sleep is going to kick in, and it's just that constant ruminating that kept me awake. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. I mean, it's sleep efforts are real, and I think that was the main thing that I pulled from you, and your insomnia insights that you posted. I just I just it finally just went off in my brain one day. I was like, you know, the the more I make this an issue, the worse it's gonna get. So
No, absolutely. I think that's very true, of course. And I wanted to ask you, before we start talking about like how things started, how things got easier and started to change, just a few more things. One was, did you go back to the doctor that prescribed the trazodone, or you never did?
no, I didn't go back to the doctor after they prescribed me trazodone. I took it basically for about a month. I realized it wasn't helping, and then rather than going back to the doctor, I decided to just call it quits because I have always kind of been anxious towards medication in general, and I've had kind of anxiety issues my whole life, um, especially in regards to medical stuff. But anyway, yeah, I didn't end up going back to the doctor. Um, I was just scared of potentially um, like getting a dependence on it, I guess,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
tapering off. I didn't want to do that, so I just stopped it.
And during this stretch of these, like, these months where it was really intense, uh, what were your days like? You were still going to college? Were you managing? How was it like? It was hard, I'm sure.
Well, um, I don't know. I felt very fatigued. I just felt very tired. Um, I would constantly ruminate about sleep. And another thing that I was really scared of that really um, exacerbated my issues was the fear of hallucinations. Um, because I read somewhere that um, having lack of sleep can cause you to potentially hear things, see things, or it can make you manic. And I was just so fearful that something psychologically would happen to me because just everything that was going on in my life at that time. I wanted to do so well, and I was just afraid that, you know, if I don't sleep this night, it'll be even worse tomorrow because I only slept 2 hours the night prior, and it's just going to keep building, and something's going to happen to me. And I was always waiting for that car to hit me, and it never did. So,
Right. Wow. Oh, just when you're moving your hands, sometimes the song gets a little distorted, but
sorry.
no, it's totally fine. Generally, it's really, really nice. And okay, now I wanted to talk about in 2 months into this, you found the channel and you thought like, oh, it can't be this easy. But I'm guessing you still kept tuning in. Is that true?
Yeah, I did. Um, yeah, I stopped trying. I stopped Googling stuff about insomnia because I had a revelation where it wasn't helping me to to keep doing that. It just kept adding fuel to the fire. But um, I started really gravitating towards your channel for some reason because the way that you thought about insomnia was completely, almost kind of unheard of to me. Um, because we learn to, deal with, mental health issues, mainly with a pill and, probably some counseling. And I thought insomnia fell under kind of that umbrella of a mental health issue, or maybe it had something to do with my health, like my physical health. And um, I just was intrigued by what you were saying, um, basically. So I just kept tuning in, and I forget this guy's name. Um, I think he said he was in the Israeli armed forces or something. I forget his name.
Neil.
Yeah, Neil. That was, I think, I think that was kind of the turning point for me. Watching Neil's Talking Insomnia, um, he just completely blew my mind. Like, so the fact that he said that he went through boot camp surviving on 0 to 1 hours of sleep every 3 or 4 days, I was just like, wow. Um, if he can do it, I can do it. And maybe I should start trying to be more like him.
So you saw that he had done that, and did the thought become sort of like what he wanted to say, that you know you don't need necessarily to sleep more to do okay? Was that the sort of the thought that propelled you forward, if you will?
Um, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that finally started making me think a little bit more about how true it was that we needed to sleep, because I think at the very root of my insomnia was just the fear that not sleeping was going to hurt my life in some way. That I'm not gonna perform my best at my job, or I'm not going to be present in my relationships, or I'm not going to have the energy or the will to do the things I want to do in life. And so, yeah, I started, yeah, after I watched his video, um, I just started kind of like thinking to myself, him and Daniel are probably on to something here. Yeah. So, and then I noticed that you had, were talking about how, um, you were kind of disputing kind of the health effects of not sleeping. And I'm a very skeptical person. So I feel like that's kind of the reason why I discounted you at first. Um, but you were right. I mean, your body will force yourself to get the sleep that you need. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad your insomnia is. Sleeping, I think I heard somewhere that sleeping is just like breathing. You know, you need, like, eventually if you don't breathe um, enough, or if you try to hold your breath for long, you'll eventually breathe. Or if um, you get the analogy. So
Absolutely. I think I heard that analogy actually from Martin Reed, who's, also has a YouTube channel, also does sleep coaching, and it's a very helpful one. And okay, very nice. So we get to the point here where you're sort of like you're starting to see things in a little bit of a different way, and how did you know how did things go from there? What happened next, if you will, in the story?
well, um, I started gradually trying to adopt that mindset. Um, Obviously, the skepticism would come back, um, and sometimes I would be hyper fixated on my symptoms. You know, like I would I would almost try and look for a fault in my reasoning. Um, I would start to think, sleep actually might be important. These people might be wrong, um, or today I might just um, not perform well at my job, or in school, or but eventually I realized that the worrying was getting me nowhere, and each day of me surviving this insomnia was just a little bit of extra proof that I could do whatever I wanted in life. Despite me worrying that this, I think you said grizzly bear was at some point was going to come and get me. Um, yeah. So yeah, every day that went by, my confidence grew a little bit more and more and more. And eventually I started sleeping, instead of 2 or 3 hours, I would sleep probably 4 or 5, and then eventually I got to 5 or 6, and now I'm at where I am today, and I'm completely back to normal. Um, yeah, I was just afraid that something was going to happen, something was wrong with me. I was just constantly looking for something, because I had to find the proof. So that was kind of the turning point for me. It just was a gradual, you know.
No, no, that's wonderful. So I'm so glad to hear this happening, and also like the way you said it, that every day that you were, despite not sleeping much, despite worrying a lot, you were okay. You were functioning. You could do things, and that became sort of evidence that it probably isn't so dangerous if we sleep little, and the pressure started coming off, and things got a little easier and easier. That's how I hear it. Does it sound true?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the gist of what happened with me.
Wonderful to hear. And I think nothing else comes to mind at this point. I think you covered it very nicely. I just want to ask you, which has become sort of my go-to final question here, which is that if you had a chance to talk to yourself when this started, maybe when you were in the thick of it, what would you say to yourself?
Um, I would say to myself, just try to um, stop overthinking, stop trying to find the solution, and just trust that um, that you can still do the things that you can do, um, despite the challenges in front of you. Um, just trust in the process, because I think at the time I had a very self-defeating mindset. Um, I would constantly I think you know I would constantly try and look for things, um, and I would just tell my old self to just stop trying so hard. Just let go a little bit. Just try, just breathe. It's okay. You're gonna do everything that you need to do. As long as you put the effort in, it won't matter. Um, so that's all I have to say, really. I mean, um, and if I could say something to the people who are currently struggling with insomnia, I just would like to say to them that um, I know you probably think you're different or you have issues where you know you won't think you'll be able to overcome your insomnia because of some reason, but just I can guarantee you that just kind of taking a step back and stop anticipating the wave is gonna help in some way, shape, or form, and it completely changed my life to just adopt that mindset. That was at the core of what you were teaching, because I read Set It and Forget It, and I just kept thinking about that title. That title just clicked with me. You set like you set like your alarm or whatever, and just forget it. It was just wonderful how your philosophies just changed my not only my outlook on insomnia, but just um, anxiety in general in my life.
When you said that it changed my life, I wanted to ask about exactly that actually. So this will maybe become the final question, but you know, so you did find that you learned something from this struggle that applied beyond sleep.
Yeah, I did for sure. Um, I think that I think a more tangible thing that that I got from my insomnia journey was to obviously don't Google. If you have a health problem, don't Google. But beyond that, I just realized that um, you should just believe in yourself and just trust that um, things will get better. Just take it one day at a time. Don't don't put so much weight on your shoulders to where you know your struggles are just getting worse because you're constantly worrying. If that makes sense, it just overall helped my outlook on anxiety in general, because often I think with anxiety it's you're just um, you're trying to find a threat, or you think there's a threat, and it helps to take a step back and look at it objectively and think and kind of offer evidence for what you're anxious about. So
Makes so much sense. So glad to hear this, and I'm sure if you said what you said, uh, if you had a chance to say what you just said to yourself, your struggle would have ended so much sooner. But you learned a lot from it, and now I'm so glad we have a chance to. You have a chance to say this to other people whose life surely will be easier for this. So I just want to say thank you, Ben, for being guest today and stay in touch. It was super nice talking to you.
yeah, it was amazing talking to you too.
Okay, bye for now.
All right, bye.